Djokovic wants to face Nadal at Roland Garros. In a press conference on February 22 in Belgrade, Djokovic received many questions from reporters, from his current health situation to rumors about the severity of his injuries, and about his chances of participating in tournaments in the United States. All of those questions were answered by Djokovic clearly. "There are many stories about me on the internet and I don't have enough time to explain," Djokovic said about rumors of himself faking injuries or exaggerating the severity of injuries. "False rumors are not beautiful, but they have been with me throughout my career. It only makes my victory." Through this, Djokovic also affirmed that he is completely healthy and can participate in any tournament. In addition, a reporter asked about Djokovic's biggest opponent at the moment. The question was not difficult when Djokovic affirmed that Nadal is the toughest opponent for him, and he always shows humility when talking about Nadal and Federer. Djokovic said, "Nadal and Federer have shaped who I am today. We both understand the importance of direct matches. I will consider playing many matches on clay to prepare best for Roland Garros. If not allowed to enter the United States to participate in Indian Wells and Miami, then Roland Garros is the biggest tournament where Djokovic can face Nadal." Both players are holding the record for the most Grand Slam titles, and the prospect of the two players meeting at the French Open to win another Grand Slam is fantastic. Perhaps in that interview, Djokovic silently agreed to face Nadal at Roland Garros, and it remains to be seen how Nadal will react to Djokovic's words. Do you have any opinions on this issue? I would like to share some answers from fans around the world. Let's see what they say, with anonymous respondents. P1 Djokovic always wants to play Nadal on clay, even at the French Open. Meanwhile, Nadal always avoids playing Noel on grass and hard courts. Noel's absence at the Australian Open is a desperate attempt to win the championship, knowing that his chances of winning would be zero if Noel were there. P2 Noel has faced Nadal 9 times at the French Open, while Nadal has only faced Noel twice at the Australian Open. Despite there being twice as many hard-court tournaments as clay-court tournaments, the number of meetings between Nadal and Noel on both types of courts is the same, indicating that Nadal avoids Noel at too many hard-court tournaments, while Noel always confronts Nadal head-on on clay. P3 Why do Noel fans always talk in reverse? It's clear that Noel avoids Nadal, but you say Nadal avoids Noel. How ridiculous. The evidence is that Nadal has gone to Noel's house 5 times to find him, but only met him twice, so who is avoiding whom? Stop being so arrogant. In those 5 times, Nadal made it to the final of the Australian Open, but only met Noel twice. It's clear that Noel is the one who made it so that they only met each other twice at the OW, otherwise they would have met 5 times, right? And the score at the OW at that time was probably 3-2 in favor of Nadal, not 2-0, because in those 3 times when Nadal couldn't find Noel, Nadal was in great form while Noel was in worse form than Nadal. In conclusion, you only make emotional comments without any basis, but when you analyze P4, the reason why both players meet each other frequently at the French Open is because Nadal always performs well at his home court, and thus advances deep into the tournament. When Nadal plays well at the French Open, it's highly likely that Djokovic will also make it far, provided he plays well on the road. They don't meet as often at the Australian Open because Djokovic doesn't perform as well on his home turf as Nadal does, which means that when Nadal plays well at the Australian Open, he won't face Djokovic since Djokovic often gets knocked out early. The evidence that Nadal made it to the final at the Australian Open 5 times but only played Djokovic twice is undeniable. If Djokovic played well at home, they should have met each other 5 times instead of 2. P5 I am a fan of Djokovic and I love watching his matches against Nadal, especially on clay, even though he has lost to Nadal many times. What hasn't been achieved yet, the harder you have to try, the more you crave it. Djokovic has defeated Nadal in the quarterfinals and semifinals. I am really looking forward to and believing that Djokovic can beat Nadal once in the final of the French Open. Even if he loses again, I will accept it. P6. I am a fan of Djokovic and I know the difficulties he has faced against Nadal at the French Open every year. I also greatly admire the 14 Grand Slam titles that Nadal has won here. It's no wonder that Djokovic has only beaten Nadal twice and lost to him every other time. However, this time, I am very confident in my idol and I am looking forward to Djokovic meeting Nadal again at the 2023 French Open. Of course, this is not just a playground for Nadal and Djokovic, but for over 100 different renowned players. But in my opinion, Nadal will not be able to successfully defend his French Open title in 2022, simply because he has been in terrible form lately, losing 5 out of 7 recent matches. On the other hand, players like Alcaraz, Tsitsipas, and Zverev are playing really well. P7. It seems like a challenge from Djokovic to Nadal. Hopefully, Nadal can regain his form and beat Djokovic to determine the GOAT race soon. Nadal has been hiding from Djokovic for a while now, so if he is defeated by Djokovic at his home court, Nadal's fans will have to accept it and not argue anymore. P8. To become a successful tennis player and respect his opponents, Djokovic has come a long way. After losing to Nadal in their first encounter at the French Open in 2006, Djokovic said, "I am not happy to finish like this because today I played pretty well. I think I was controlling the match, everything was up to me. I played a match equal to him despite my back pain. The match went like this. In set 1, Djokovic was immediately broken twice while serving. In set 2, he served and missed the first point. After being broken, he angrily hit the ball up in the air, and the same scenario as set 1 repeated. The match quickly ended as Djokovic withdrew when he lost the first point in set 3. The final score was 6-4, 6-4 in favor of Nadal. After the match, Djokovic said, "Today I realized I don't need a special playing style. I couldn't serve 100%. If I could, I would have won set 2. Maybe because I didn't do anything special then." 15 years later after that statement, when he had set the record for the most losses to the same player in GS history, he had his first win over Nadal at RG. Djokovic said, beating Nadal, P9, "I am a fan of Nadal, but to be fair, Nadal still dominates at the French Open for about 3 more years. So, the likelihood of Nadal winning the French Open this year is also very high. Besides Nadal, it's hard for anyone to beat Nadal at Roland Garros. P10, I like Rafa, but he's too weak this time. He needs to recover and cut down on unnecessary matches. He should focus on Grand Slams, especially Roland Garros." P11, what's the point of Big Three fans arguing all day? They even criticize each other's skills, saying one is low while the other is high. I think we should feel happy to live in the same era as these 3 legends because it may be a long time until we have another 3 kingdoms like battle like this. In terms of skill, talent, physicality, spirit, etc., all 3 Big Three players are very good to excellent, much better than the rest and only slightly behind each other. Otherwise, how could they have won a total of 64 Grand Slams and countless other ATP titles? Other players are good, but they are still far from being at the same level as the Big Three, so no matter how many generations of players come and go, the Big Three will still be there winning trophies. Last year, out of 4 Grand Slams, the 2 old men won 3, and only 1 was won by a younger player. Just watch the matches between Nadal and Medvedev at the Australian Open or between Djokovic and Kyrgios at Wimbledon, and countless other matches between them and other players to see how skilled the Big Three are. They only lose to each other the most, as the younger players are not yet at their level. So, if you still criticize them, you lose. Some people criticize Nadal's forehand but they don't know anything about tennis. It's one of the most powerful and strong forehands of all time, or Federer's backhand is the same, or Djokovic's serving and returning skills only belong to the top 1 or 2. If winning 1 to 2 Grand Slams or reaching 1 to 2 finals were due to luck, it could be attributed to chance. However, winning over 20 Grand Slams and countless finals is definitely a sign of excellence rather than mediocrity. I play tennis, that is the opinion of everyone in the world. What about your opinion? Let us know. Please like and subscribe to us to keep up to date with the latest information. For now, goodbye and see you again.